the do now. So please make sure you have the homework accessible as well. And there is no Nearpod today because we are only going through 2 documents. So I'll give you 1 minute to get yourself set up with your homework and the class packet. Okay, we should be good to go. Just as a reminder, attendance and cold call responses impact a quiz grade bi-weekly. Zoom expectations, your video should be on and your microphone is off and you are only chatting when prompted. Google Classroom is where you can find all assignments in the Nearpod. As a reminder, the regular key terms are due on Friday at 8 p.m. So make sure you work on those now that you have this homework completed, and make sure you're in a constructive learning space. Great, so we are going to go ahead and get started on the do now. You're gonna have 5 minutes to complete the chart on the first page of the classwork, and we'll come around together as a group and review. 5 minutes on the do now. Go ahead and get started. You have 2 more minutes. 30 more seconds to finish up. Awesome. Let's go ahead and review a couple of things very quickly. So first, what legislation and laws are being questioned in Schenck versus the United States ISIS?
I said Section 3 of the Espionage Act violates the First Amendment.
Beautiful. Yes, you should have the Espionage Act and the First Amendment. And secondly, what are the major implications of this court case? Nyesha.
If we have like another war, or if there's like a dangerous or difficult experience, our freedom of speech can be suppressed in order to like benefit the country and the people.
Awesome. Okay, we're gonna stop there. Great. So we have of the main ideas and the main laws uncovered. I'm now going to give you guys 3 minutes to transition to page 2 of your classwork. You're going to read a short quote from the Washington Post where he talks about the Espionage Act and the implications of this law. So you're going to take 3 minutes to read this quote on page 2 and answer the question, is wartime a justification for the suppression of free speech? 3 minutes, go ahead and get started. Page 2 of the classwork. Ninety more seconds. And again, this is your perspective. Thirty more seconds on the hook, and then we'll come back and discuss. Okay, so in your opinion, is wartime a justification for suppressing free speech? Can I hear from Tisa? And then Madison? And then Erica? Go ahead, Tisa.
Can you actually come back to me? I'm still like.
Yeah, we'll come back to you at the end. Madison and then Erica.
Oh man, sorry. I think that although I get what the government is trying to do, limit the problems and issues that are gonna what would happen. I think wartime is not a justification for suppressing free speech. If the Constitution says that Americans have the right to speak their minds, and we should be able to speak our minds regardless of what's going on in society.
Great. And Erica?
I agree with what Madison said. I don't think there's specifically a right answer because I feel like during a time like this specifically, people should be able to say how they feel about what's going on. But when it's just not productive and not helpful and like just steering the country in a way that it doesn't need to be, like what I feel like is going on with Trump supporters right now, I feel like it's just so destructive, especially in a time that's already destructive. I think people should be suppressed and centered when they're doing stuff like that.
And Tisa.
I believe wartime is not a justification for suppressing free speech because I feel like limiting like freedom on Americans is just not, you know.
Hmm?
I don't know, like.
Yeah, I mean, it's a constitutional freedom. So is there ever a good enough reason to get rid of, like, to limit it? So we are going to spend a little bit more time on the Schenck versus United States Supreme Court case. You guys might remember it from last year when we discussed World War I. We did spend a day talking about it and the kind of implications that the Espionage Act has on American society during wartime, especially when we look at another Supreme Court case next Monday, Tinker versus Des Moines, which is about the suppression of free speech during the Vietnam War, which is again another really contentious time. So this is how it's going to work. We have two documents that we're going to read today. First, we're going to read the majority opinion from Justice Holmes, and you guys are going to say, according to Holmes, is it appropriate to apply context when determining whether to limit free speech? And then after we discuss Holmes' perspective of the Espionage Act and Schenck versus the United States, we're going to look at a comparison case, Dennis versus the United States, and determine what the clear and present danger clause does to freedom of speech. So you're going to have 6 minutes to read the majority opinion, which is on page 3 of your classwork. You're going to have 6 minutes to read it, and then we'll come back together to discuss that question. 6 minutes on the clock. Chat me if you have any questions. Go ahead and get started. You have 3 more minutes. You have 1 more minute to finish up your response, and then we'll come back together as a whole group. Okay, let's come back together. Is it appropriate to apply context when determining whether or not to limit free speech? Can I hear first from Aaron and then Ariana?
I said yes because I mean I guess it all depends on the situation, but I definitely do think it's okay to limit um speak like free speech. It's like during wartime because maybe it's for like the good of the country, so it doesn't cause like panic amongst like the nation and cause more problems that's already being caused.
Mhm. And can you build on that, Ariana? Oh,
Can you guys hear
thank
me?
you, Ariana. I just saw your chat.
But is it working? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine.
Okay. So I say yes because like if the words are like or whatever they're saying is like causing danger to like people around them or like panic and stuff, I feel like in that case it should be limited because then it's like it's affecting a community of people, you know, not just like a little bit. And yes, I feel like in like it's just in these contexts, not just like limiting people's speech for nothing type of thing. Or because you don't agree. I feel like it causes danger to other people, then it should be limited, or like a hate crime or something.
Yeah, so for example, a modern issue is fake information about the coronavirus and why people have been wanting to limit the anti-maskers. Oh God, that's a thing. So like the people that don't believe in the coronavirus, there's been a big crackdown on whether or not they should be allowed to tweet and things like that because they are spreading false information. So we agree that with Holmes that context does matter when it comes to our constitutional right to freedom of speech. And I notice in the responses that I'm hearing from Aaron and Ariana that there's this concern about public safety, which goes back to what we discussed yesterday. What is more important, individual liberty or public safety? And in this example, we see that tension. So we're going to transition to the second document, and we're going to learn more about this clear and present danger clause that Ariana alluded to in her response. So you're going to read about a court case that you might have a comparison SCOTUS question on, and you're going to determine if the clear and present danger clause applies to Dennis versus the United States. So same thing, you're going to have 6 minutes, and then we'll come in for a deeper round of discourse discussing context and free speech. 6 minutes on document 2. Go ahead and get started. Three more minutes on document 2. One more minute to finish up, and then we'll come back together as a group. Okay, that is time. So before we get started with this question, I just want to make sure we're on the same page. What is the clear and present danger clause? What does it mean? I'll take a hand. Isis, go for it.
Doesn't it mean like basically if the freedom of speech is used in a way that can cause like panic or can cause harm?
Awesome, then it should be limited. So it's like if your individual liberty is threatening the public safety of others, then it should be limited. Does this test work in Dennis versus the United States? I'll take hands. Or I'll cold call. Madison, go for it.
All right. Well, I was gonna say, because when you're reading this, it says that like the court, they believe that whatever these people were advocating, that it created a clear and present danger to the government or whatever. But I mean, that's what the court said. But are you asking us our opinion?
Yes.
Because in my opinion, they said in the article that like they didn't, nothing that they did like what. Let me go back to it. Hold up. Sorry. Hold up. I don't know where it is, but you know where it's saying nothing that they said was found. So they like, how do I explain it? They weren't charged with anything. They weren't charged that they had something to the government. So that's what the court said. But in all actuality, it should not have been applied to Dennis, the United States.
Awesome. Build on that, Nyasha.
I agree with Madison. This was mostly speculation than anything because they said that they had no real evidence. In the second paragraph, they said the fact that no evidence existed that Dennis and his colleagues had encouraged any of their followers to commit specific violent acts. And this seems more like paranoia from the government and the people because of communism. Was this near like a Red Scare or anything like that?
Mm-hmm.
Because they were scared of communism. So I think they mostly used Dennis and the people as an example of what can happen to you. I feel like they were just like an example of like what can happen if you try and threaten the government, because this wasn't about the people, it was more about the government's fear.
Awesome. As Nyasha brought up, this is during the Red Scare where literally if you even kind of acted like a communist, and by kind of acted, it means like they just assume you were a communist, you were immediately guilty of communism. This is during the era of McCarthyism, where people were losing their jobs because they were suspected of being communists. So this is where historical context comes into play. So for example, next week when we go over Tinker versus Des Moines, It's a very important court case to consider, not just what's happening in the court case, but what's happening in the United States at that time period, which was the Vietnam War. So now I want to hear your guys' opinion. Is the clear and present danger fair? Should we have a clear and present danger test? Can I hear from Dwayne and then Erica?
Can you repeat that, please?
Yes. Do you think we should have a clear and present danger test? Purely your opinion.
I don't. No, I don't know. I don't really have an opinion on that. Not even gonna lie.
Okay, go for it, Erica.
So does that mean like just charging people who seem to have a clear and present danger, or being able to like test them to see if they have a clear and present danger?
So clear and present danger just means that we can limit or take away your freedom of speech if we think you are a clear and present danger to the United States.
I think on paper that sounds productive, but in pursuit, I can see how it can be corrupted.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so like, for example, with like what's going on today. Today, Twitter.com has put in a lot of effort to, I don't like the word censor, but limit Donald Trump's tweets and flag them when they hold inaccurate information. And now they flag a tweet as being inaccurate. So that's an example of not necessarily the clear and present danger clause, but how you can sense when free speech is not being used constructively or well, but you're going to limit it, if that makes sense. So this again goes back to that question of public safety versus individual liberty. Yes, Nyasha.
So since this is like a time like with coronavirus and everything, and like you're saying, like it can be used in this example. So why hasn't like the government specifically have done something to like stop Donald Trump and like him spreading false information if they did it in this example with like somebody spreading leaflets saying that like war is bad and stuff like that? So like, why hasn't it been employed now if it has been in the past, if it's such a big thing about like public safety and stuff like that? Because people are dying. Just saying.
So going back to one of our lessons on the presidential branch, we discussed how the problem with this modern presidency is the checks and balances are not being used. So yes, that is something that should maybe be used, but they aren't using the tools that they have because Congress is refusing to check this president. Only 2 more months though. Thank you guys for deep diving into this. You guys are going to be looking at more about freedom of speech in tomorrow's asynchronous packet. Remember, you don't need to be on Zoom at 1 o'clock in the afternoon tomorrow, but you do have a pretty short packet. The articles look long, but I promise they're not. They're like really easy to read newspaper articles. And something I want to really push with that take home packet is really look at historical context and how it's employed in those instances of free speech being restricted. So that's what you guys are going to be delving into more examples of tomorrow. And then we're going to look at probably the most famous example of free speech, especially in schools. So it's one of my favorite court cases because it discusses free speech on school campuses. So just really actively engage with that packet tomorrow. Any questions about what's expected of you tomorrow with that packet? I have it going live tonight at 7 o'clock because I know a bunch of you guys are like night owls. So that way, in case you guys want to get it done tonight, so you can sleep in later tomorrow and have more time to do your other stuff tomorrow, it will be going live at 7 o'clock. So you guys should have access. So you'll have access to it for about 24 hours. And I will be on my computer all day. So if you have like quick questions, feel free to text or email me and I can help you problem solve through the packet. So even though I'm not going to be here with you, I am going to be on my computer all day and I can get back to you relatively quickly. Okay, we should be good with, yes, no more questions. So we can go ahead and transition to the exit ticket. Please make sure you take your time and answer both A and B. Something I want to clarify. So for part A, where it says identify the constitutional clause that is common to both these two court cases, by constitutional clause, it just means what part of the Constitution is the same. That's it. So what amendment is the common denominator between these two court cases for part A. Okay, I will let you guys get started on your exit ticket. Please chat me if you have any questions. Thank you, Isis. You may go. Please make sure to click submit on your classwork. And if you had to unsubmit your homework to use it in today's class, please make sure you submit the homework so I can grade it and put it as a part of your classwork grade today. Thank you, Erica. You may go. Oh, she's already gone. Thank you, Kezia. You may go. Awesome, Naija, you may go. Awesome, Tisa, you here?
Bye.
Thank you, Ariana. You may go. Erin, can you check your chat for me, please?
Did you get my Miss Wild?
Yes, you may go.
Thanks. Have a good day.
Thank you, you too. ZR, Janiqua, you may go. Erin, are you able to just stay on the Zoom call? Did you see my chat? Dwayne, Adarius, how are your exit tickets going? Do you need, are you almost done?
I'm about to be done right now.
Okay. What about you, Adarius?
I'm almost done. I'm on the last question right now.
Okay. Erin, are you there?
Yes.
Okay, did you see my chat?
Yes, I just texted you.
Did you text me or chat me?
Chat.
I didn't get it.
Yeah, is it lagging?
Got mine.
Yes, Dwayne, you can go. Erin, are you just okay with staying on the Zoom call to get your exam started? Okay. So once Darius is done, I'm gonna I'm gonna leave on my computer, but like the me that doesn't have the video on, That's my iPad. So I'm going to stay on the iPad with you while you do your,
Okay.
and then once I'm done with this meeting, I'll like turn my video on and check in with you. Okay.
Okay.
It should only be like 10 minutes.
All right. It's not working.
But Erin, if you want us to go ahead and start it, I will share the link to the assignment with you and you can go ahead and get started.
Okay.
Just give me 1 second to pull that up. Okay, Darius, the only way I can share this link is if it goes to everybody, so just ignore what I put in the chat, okay?
Okay.
Okay, Erin, that's the link, so you can go ahead and get started.
Alrighty.
You can go ahead and mute yourself too. Darius has your exit ticket.
It's fine. It's still in the second question.
You're still on the second question. What part of the second question?
The second part of it? Oh no. Yeah, I'm still in the second one like this, the question.
Mhm. Okay, take one more minute to take one more minute to finish up and then just submit whatever you have, okay? So that way you can make sure you get partial credit. And make sure you turn in that homework as well, okay?
Okay.
I would stay on longer with you, but I have to get into a meeting. Okay, Darius, go ahead and submit whatever you have. And then I'll follow up with you if there's anything you need to fix, okay? Okay, Darius, go ahead and press submit. And I'll let you know when I have it, okay? Awesome. Thank you, Darius. That's a really good start to your response. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead